All right, welcome back. So, in the first video, we again went over what volume meant. Volume is the amount of three-dimensional space that's being filled. And we went over these three similar figures, a rectangular prism, a triangular prism, and a pyramid. So we're going to be looking at the other three figures today. And what relates all these figures together is the fact that they involve circles. So, for example, our fourth figure that we're going to be looking at is a cylinder, a can essentially, or a cup. So with a cylinder, the easiest way to sketch this would be to just draw two parallel lines next to each other and then draw a circle for the top and then draw a circle for the bottom. Not perfect, but it works for our purposes. Okay, so for a cylinder, they're going to give you two things. They're going to give you the radius of one of the circles, and they're going to give you the height. If I know the radius and I know the height, I can find the volume of a cylinder. The volume of a cylinder is the area of the circle, pi r squared, times the height of the cylinder. That's it. So for example here, if they tell me that the radius of my circle is 6 inches and they tell me that the height of my cylinder is 10 inches, it'll say find the volume. So again, it's a substitution. So we know that pi times the radius squared, so 6 inches squared times the height, which is 10 inches. So in this case, we would follow order of operations. So order of operations tells us that we have to square to 6 first. So it'd be pi times 36 inches squared times 10 inches. So when I multiply 36 times 10, that gets us 360 times pi cubic inches. Now, there are cases where they may say, write this in terms of pi. If the directions say, write this in terms of pi, you would stop here. We would write 360 pi. Otherwise, the directions might say, use pi equals 3.14. So if the directions say use pi equals 3.14, we would say volume equals 360 times 3.14, and that's cubic inches. So then we'd get out our handy dandy calculator. I'm going to use my phone calculator because it does show up better here. So I would say 360 times 3.14, which gets us 1,130.4 cubic inches. So therefore, the volume of our cylinder is 1,130.4 cubic inches. Okay. Now, from a cylinder, we go next to a cone. So with the cone, essentially, what we could do here is we can sketch a circle, draw our two sides going up, and voila, there's our cone. So for a cone, again, we're looking for two things. We're looking for the radius of the cone, and we're looking for the height of the cone. If I know those two things, I can find the volume. To find the volume of a cone, we use the formula. Well, a cone, just like a pyramid with a prism, a cone is 1/3 of a cylinder. So the formula is 1/3 pi r squared h. So basically just what we did up here, but it's going to be 1/3 of that answer. So, for example, if I tell you that the height is 12 centimeters and I tell you that the radius is 3 centimeters, it'll say find the volume of the cone. Wonderful. We know the height, we know the radius, so it's going to be 1/3 times pi times 3 centimeters squared times 12 centimeters. Oops. This is squared. So, order of operations says we have to do the 3 squared first. So that's 9 centimeters squared. So that's 1/3 times pi times 9 centimeters squared times 12 centimeters. I can multiply 9 and 12 together. So that's 108 centimeters cubed. So then if I do 108 divided by 3, that's 36. So the volume of this cone is 36 pi cubic centimeters. If the directions say leave it in terms of pi, leave it like this. If the directions say use pi equals 3.14, plug in 3.14 here in place of pi. So this would be 36 times 3.14 cubic centimeters. So again, if I do 36 times 3.14, that gets us an answer of 113.04, and it's an approximation centimeters cubed. Okay. All right. Last but not least. So the last three-dimensional figure that we're going to look at for volume here is a sphere. So you see lots of spheres out there. It would help if I could spell today. There we go, sphere. The Earth is a giant sphere. Soccer balls, basketballs, baseballs, those are spheres. So for a sphere, I sketch a big circle, and then I sketch a circle inside the middle. Ooh, there's my sphere. Now, for a sphere, to find the volume, I only need to know the radius. As long as I have the radius, I can find the volume of a sphere. And again, they could give you the radius of quite a few ways. It just all depends on how they give it to you. It doesn't matter. If I know the radius, the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So let's say I tell you that the radius of this sphere is 8 inches. And I want to find the volume. Okay? So it's going to be 4/3 times pi times 8 inches cubed. So if I do 8 inches cubed, that's 512. So this would be 4/3 times pi times 512 cubic inches. So if I do 512 times 4 divided by 3, that's going to get me this answer. So it might say round to the nearest tenth or so. So the volume would be approximately equal to 682.7 pi cubic inches. Now again, that's if it says write it in terms of pi. Now if the directions say use pi equals 3.14, okay. So we do 682.67 repeating, or 0.7 times 3.14. That's cubic inches. That would get us an approximation. Oops. So 512 times 4 divided by 3 times 3.14 would be approximately equal to 2,143.6 cubic inches. So this is how we would find the volume of a sphere. So, depending on what three-dimensional figure they give you, will depend on which formula you use. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to either email myself or Mr. Ard, or send us a request asking for a Google Meet. Many of you had commented that you wanted to hear my voice, so here we are. Here are the videos for you. I look forward to hearing from you if you have questions or if you want to meet with us, and we'll go from there. All right. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later.